Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't we talk a little bit about conducting, this mysterious profession where somebody is front of a group waving his arms and trying to show for the musicians how to play the music. And the result can be very pleasing in several cases, like hopefully like at this time too. Here we are. So this is the conductor that we see in front of a group, and this is that we are thinking what this person is doing there. Why is he moving his hands, and what information this person is giving for the performing musicians there. And this profession goes back to very old history, basically the beginning, since the beginning of the human society. Because the Stone Age people also loved music. They love the dancing. They love the dancing around the fire after a good dinner, and they needed somebody to lead them what to do. So the very first percussionist conductor was who was hitting two pieces of stones, giving a pause, a tempo, how fast to move, and our heart picks up that tempo, and the movement, as you can see, is beautifully matching with that tempo what the singer, what the percussionist gave them. Here's another Stone Age demonstration of the need of music in human societies, because people love to dance, love to enjoy moment together, what we did in life together. And basically, the Egyptians had also beautiful music in their history, and we just don't know how did it sound, because we see the instruments and the instrumentalists on the walls of the pharaoh's tombs, strings, winds, brass, percussion, all the instruments exist, but we have no clue how it sounded, because notation, musical notation, was not invented at that time. But by the time we go to the Greeks, we see that some movement happening there, and here is the nice amphitheater. And you can see the audience outside, and you have a stage with the actors, and front of the stage, the huge the crowd of people, the chorus. And the function of the chorus was to summarize the story, what was happening on the stage. Now the big challenge was coming: how will you keep these guys together? Well, in the Stone Age, there was nothing else needed, just the tempo. Here, now, these people used words also and melodies. And you can see with the melodies, the instrumentalist help for the chorus. And there were two guys also front of them who applied the so-called chironomical signs, depicting the meaning of the word, what they were performing. And in that way, they could get an idea what the music was about and how to perform it, because basically the conductor still shows the same how to play the music. So this profession goes back very old. During the Renaissance, we had several different kind of instrumental ensembles, but there was no standard instrumentation. By the Baroque, when we invented the string instruments with the purpose of covering the same range as the human voice does, for the highest female voice to the lowest male voice, one family, same color, same tones, that's human voice, in same string instrument, same color, dominating. The new challenge was to come up with music for that, and the concerto was invented, and Corelli and Vivaldi was great examples for that, representatives of that, and how they were keeping their group together. They were playing together with them. Vivaldi, with his long red hair, shaking it, was playing together with the girls in the girls' school, leading them with the bow of his instrument, and they played together beautifully. But by the time we go to the court of Louis the XIV, he thought that he needs his own orchestra, but his own orchestra needs his own conductor leader. and he hired this wonderful gentleman on the screen, Lully, Jean-Baptiste Lully, who basically became the very first professional conductor. The big challenge for Lully was how to keep together the musicians, because the musicians were supposed to sit on the floor while he, as the leader, he was in a higher rank of the society, so he was not supposed to be on the same physical level with the musicians. He needed to stand in front of them. The challenge was, how will he give them instruction how to play the music? And he just noticed that the guard at the door, when some eminences were coming in, was clicking on the floor with a Marshall stick, and it is here in his hand, and created a pause on the floor. And Lully thought, wow, this is that I need. He made a transfer, asked for a Marshall stick, and by hitting the floor, giving clicks, pauses, he could provide a group with the beautiful tempo, how fast to play the music. The dynamics was taken care of, the block or the orchestrations, block dynamics, tutti, solo, loud, soft, and the tempo was the most important job. Same as in the Stone Age, the percussion conductors providing his dancers moving together with the pause. Lully did exactly the same with this Marshall stick. And in the next generations, Haydn was sitting inside of the group, still in the London symphonies. He was sitting, leading the group from there, but Beethoven was not. Mozart also needed to conduct in Prague his opera, and Beethoven also, and later generations, Liszt, Wagner, Berlioz, they were grabbing a stick, but the baton started to shrink. And by the next generation, in the 19th century, we had, like here in the picture, you can see Berlioz, his conducting baton is much shorter by the time than Lully had in the same country a couple of centuries before. And the task also was more for this generation of conductors than just to provide the right tempo, the musicians. But Beethoven, Liszt, and even Berlioz still several times were hitting the music stand, providing the musicians with the tempo, because sometimes the parts were very difficult and distracted the musicians from the tempo when they needed to think about very hard different kind of fingerings and different kind of technical challenges what they wrote down. But you can see it's much more small. But the orchestra was also growing and growing and growing since Lully's time, when Lully had just strings. After a few, the military musicians in peacetime were added to the strings, so that the oboes, the flutes, some horns and trumpets, maybe one percussion. And after Berlioz added more and more. Beethoven was the first with the 3 trombones in Symphony No. 5. So the orchestra was growing and growing and growing, with the demand of a very clear central leadership of the orchestra. And this is that the conductor has to do, to show for the musicians how to play the music. And this includes the tempo, all the factors, all the basics, all the elements of the music. Number one, still the tempo, as in the Stone Age, and the dynamics with the size of the pattern and articulation, short, long, phrasing, how connected, how many notes together, what color, what balance, what texture to bring out. So it's an extremely complex profession of conducting, and we can see how this functions by today very clearly at the 20th century, even if we perform music from the 19th century. Well, this conductor might remind you for myself, and you can see that how exciting profession is. That I just wish one thing for all of you: enjoy classical music, because music makes people better and one of the highest quality of human expression. And I hope you enjoy it, you love it. The more you know, the more you hear, the more you enjoy. And please enjoy every minute and support classical music and conductors.